Yeah, so I use them for recreational fishing and hunting. So, rabbits, fish, crayfish. We actually do spotlight frogs. That's kind of fun. I don't have that opportunity here very often because we don't have the big populations of bullfrogs that they do in the Midwest. But when I'm visiting family or whatever, we'll go spotlight frogs. And that's just for the meat. We'll eat the fish or the crayfish or the frogs or whatever they catch. Rabbits, things like that. But then I also do pest control, and in the pest control, and that's what most of my videos are. We're catching muskrats and brown rats that are causing problems for people. Sometimes squirrels on occasion. That's not as common. And pretty much they go down the holes like a rat hole or a muskrat hole. They try and catch it, and if the animal escapes, then we catch it either with dogs or nets or some other live trap, something like that.
And the raccoons too, right?
The raccoons are strictly dogs. The mink can't really do anything like against a raccoon.
Yeah.
And you sure wouldn't want them to try. So yeah, we also do pest control outside of what the mink can do with just dogs. So like beavers, raccoons, rock chucks, some of the bigger stuff that the mink can't handle. Got a beaver
Uh-huh.
last night. It was pretty cool. We went out
Yeah.
and we got a big old beaver out of a canal that was causing some problems.
Who got
Did you
it?
say the
Which one
tail?
got it?
I did. It was down in a sewer. Went down in the not the sewer, but the drain. The what do they call it?
Drain pipe.
The flood
Storm
water
drain.
pipe, drain water
Storm
pipes.
drain.
Storm drains. There you go. That's what I was trying to think of. Thank you.
Yeah.
Down in the storm drains. It was living up in there, and I went in with a catch pole and caught it. It was too dangerous to utilize a dog.
Come on.
We'd have got a dog hurt. So I just went down there with the catch pole and caught it myself.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you eat a lot of that stuff, right,
Oh
Joseph?
yeah, beaver meat's our favorite, um, family favorite. Raccoon's pretty good. Um, Muskrat is probably the least favorite. It's got kind of a like an irony taste, but I like it still. But it's a little stronger flavored than the beaver and the raccoon. Which you
Then of
think
course,
raccoon would be the worst, but if you cook it, it's right. It's actually shockingly mild, kind of beef like.
yeah, the muskrat's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. And muskrat's funny because it's different on different parts of the body. So if you're eating the legs, it's a lot more mild. If you're eating like the abdominal muscles, it's a lot more gamey. So it depends on what part you're eating.
But you ain't eating none of them rats though, are you?
No, they're too
Yeah.
small and they stink when you cut them up.
Yeah.
Like their guts really has a unpleasant smell to it, and the meat in general. So even if it's just the meat, it has a real unpleasant smell. So the thought of me like preparing that and eating it really turns my gut, to be honest. But
Oh,
if I was to like have some, person who knew what they were doing, cut it up, prepare it, cook it, having some yummy spices, I would totally try it. But me going through the process of smelling that nasty raw rat meat before and then eating it an hour later when it was cooked, I I would need to be hungry. Let's just say I could do it, but I would need to be hungry. But just to try it out of casual curiosity, I would really prefer someone else prepared it, to be honest.
yeah. Good, because I hate rats. Scared of
And
I'm
they're
scared
so
of them.
small. They're so small. It's like, what are you gonna eat? You're like nibble, nibble. Oh, there's a bone. Like it's not very tempting. It's like a lot of work for barely any meat. I just not that interested in. Like I said, if I was in some, I don't know, and they cooked it all up nice for me, I would totally try it. But I'm not going to go out of my way to do it myself. The mink eat the rats. They like, so we'll take the smaller stuff like the brown rats and the muskrats. Almost all of that goes to the mink. So I'll take it, I'll run it through a grinder, make it into this hamburger stuff, and that's what you're seeing when I feed the mink on the videos. It's muskrat, brown rats, things that they caught in previous hunts, ground up for them.
What you're doing is way cooler than what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I don't know
you're
about that.
utilizing the food off the land, and it's
Yeah,
not as expensive. And they catch their own food basically,
yeah,
feed it to them, low
yeah.
cost.
Same with the dogs. feed the dogs all raw, so they don't. Occasionally, because the dogs eat so much volume. Occasionally, I'll have to buy them some chicken or something, but most of what they get is wild game. The overwhelming majority of what they eat for the dogs too. But they eat the bigger
Oh.
stuff because the bigger stuff will break my grinder. I've broken like I don't know how many grinders. So I've said, okay, well the dogs don't need it ground. I just chop it into a portion sized chunk, slice off a portion sized chunk off the carcass and give it to them. Whereas with the mink, it's pretty it's a pain in the butt if you do it that way for the mink. But the dogs just crunch it up and swallow it. The mink like eat around the bones and leave little scraps. It's just not reasonable to feed them that way. So it's easier to just grind it for the mink and then chop chunks off for the dogs. So the dogs typically get the larger animals, and the mink get the smaller animals. Is kind of how I do it.